To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Yeah, that's a good intro. That's a really good... What is this? Is this a Disneyland entranceway plaque that I have on display on my desk? Hey guys, if you're interested on how you can get one of these Disneyland entranceway plaques for your desk or for whatever you want, or different entryway plaques or different plaques or signs from all over the Disney properties, stay tuned until the end of the video. And whoa, look at that! Guys, we hit 100,000 subscribers, so thank you all very much for that. This truly means a whole lot to me, guys. Thank you so much for your support. And I will have a 100,000 subscriber special going up in about 2 weeks when I'm at Disneyland. But for now, enjoy the Tomorrowland Paradox. That's a very scary title. I hope this video's not scary.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
The Tomorrowland Paradox. It sounds scarier than it actually is. The Tomorrowland Paradox can be explained like this. The more Disney updates Tomorrowland, the worse it ages over time. Therefore, it will always be the most out-of-date land at any of the Disney parks. Exceptions being, of course, a once real fictional future like 50s retro future or Discoveryland at Disneyland Paris, a completely fictional future like Star Wars, or a major refurbishment every 3 to 5 years to keep it up to date with modern technology. Now, removing Tomorrowland from the picture, all of the lands at Walt Disney World or Disneyland have something in common, and that is that they are set in the past. And it's easier to make lands based in the past because the past has already happened and we already have resources we can pull from as references to building these lands. Does that make any sense? Probably not. But in the case of Tomorrowland, oh Tomorrowland, you troubled piece of work. The future is, by design, something we can't really anticipate. And that's exactly the problem when designing an area themed around the future. We don't know what to theme it around because the future hasn't happened yet. But the problem extends past not only Disneyland or the Magic Kingdom, but also into Epcot. Now, I'm sure a lot of you who've been to Epcot can agree with this sentiment when I say Epcot's future world is probably more similar to a 1980s world, rather than reflecting Walt Disney's idea for Epcot. And again, this is part of the problem of the Tomorrowland Paradox. Because Epcot is based in the future, we have really no idea what the actual theming should be like because we haven't seen the future yet. So instead of dedicating the land entirely to the future, we dedicate it to things that happen maybe in some sort of future, like Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. I mean, it's not really the future, but since there's aliens and robots, I guess it can fit in Tomorrowland. In the case of Star Wars, it's kind of interesting because it is a fictional future, or I guess in this case, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But again, there's robots and starships and everything, so if you wanted to put it in your future-themed area, you can, and people aren't gonna ask that many questions. Now, how do we fix this problem, you ask? How do we fix the problem of theming an area around something that can't really be anticipated or themed around? And for that, ladies and gentlemen, I point you towards Discoveryland at Disneyland Paris. It's their sort of Tomorrowland. Instead of trying to anticipate the future and theme the area around that, Disney Imagineers decided to go full fantasy with this one. Discoveryland is based around famous writers of the past writing about the future, like H.G. Wells, and dare I say they maybe even threw in a little bit of Jules Verne in there somewhere. Discoveryland was Walt Disney Imagineering's idea to fix the problem that existed at the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland. If you commit and go full retro future fantasy like they did at Discoveryland, you won't have to update the land in the future to keep up with modern technology. I mean, just look at the Autopia at Disneyland. Walt Disney originally envisioned this to be a preview of the futuristic highway system that was soon to be a reality. And now, in order to keep the whole ride modern, if you could even really say that, Honda has to add a few robot birds here and there. If Disney put me in charge of remodeling Tomorrowland at Disneyland, the Autopia would be the first thing to go. And trust me, I enjoy opening day attractions as much as everybody else, but the Autopia takes up so much room and it's really not futuristic. It really doesn't have any place in Tomorrowland. I'm sorry, trust me, I love the Autopia too, but there's just so much Disney could do with that space. So I think in the future, if Disney wants to remodel Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, they need to do something similar to what they did at Discoveryland. They can either go full science fiction fantasy, or there is one other option, but I don't think Disney's gonna like this one. Disney can do a massive restoration of the land every 3 to 5-ish years to keep it up to date with our idea of the future at the time. Now, this is probably going to cost Disney a lot of money to keep Tomorrowland ever changing, and a lot of tourists are going to be shut out of Tomorrowland for their vacations, but it's really the only way to keep Tomorrowland themed around, well, tomorrow. Everyone, please take a seat and allow me to introduce you to the Monsanto House of the Future. Now, this House of the Future resides where Tinkerbell's Pixie Hollow resides today at Disneyland, and it used to show people a preview of what their houses could be like in the future. The House of the Future used amazing state-of-the-art technology for the time to help make people's lives easier. And this amazing technology mainly revolved around the wonderful world of plastics. I don't know why they were so obsessed with plastics back then, but it's the future. You see, the problem with the House of the Future is that it included many different technologies that would become commonplace in the coming years. Microwave ovens were included in the House of the Future, and they were amazing technology for the time, for about 3 or 4 years. Eventually, all of the futuristic technology featured inside this attraction was commonplace in every American household, and the House of the Future became the House of the Present. In 1998, Disney made the same mistake a second time and opened the Innoventions Dream Home. Again, it featured technology that was, for the time, really revolutionary, but in 2 or 3 years was quickly outdated. I mean, credit to Disney on this one though, they did try to update the attraction and keep it more modern, but it still didn't really work. And eventually, Innoventions closed down and made way for the Star Wars Launch Bay, a science fiction fantasy themed area. I think the thing that we need to take away from this video is that this theming problem isn't really Disney's fault. Tomorrowland is, by design, a very hard area to keep anchored in the world of tomorrow because that anchor doesn't exist. And that, everybody, is where I turn the question over to you. If you were in charge of remodeling Tomorrowland, what kind of theming would you go for? Would you go for a close, near, modern future, or would you go completely for science fiction, fantasy kind of future? Me, personally, I really enjoy the more modern and realistic future theming, but as you can tell from this video, that's really hard to do. So everybody, next time you're at Tomorrowland at Walt Disney World or Disneyland, take a look around at the theming and notice how inconsistent it is. And know that that inconsistency really isn't anybody's fault. Except for time. It's definitely Time's fault. Now, if you thought my entranceway plaque at the beginning of the video looked pretty cool, then I've got quite the offer for you. Ye Olde Prop Shop is your one-stop shop, wow, that was pretty hard to say, for all of your Disney signage needs. Do you want some awesome vintage Epcot-inspired pavilion coasters? Well, Ye Olde Prop Shop has got those. Sweet Haunted Mansion Servants' Quarters sign? Yep. And heck, if you're less of a Disney guy and more of a Destiny guy, they've got you covered too. So if you want some sweet signage or some awesome coasters, follow one of the 2 links in the description down below to Ye Olde Prop Shop and get them for yourself. Hello everybody, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It's a little bit of a shorter one this week, a little bit of a off-the-cuff video. I've been really busy this week, so I'm hoping to get this one out in a pretty decent amount of time. Remember that you can follow me on Twitter. I am very active over there on Twitter. You can learn more about the channel or just what I'm thinking about the Disney parks at that time. And you can also donate on Patreon. For even just $1 a month, you get access to early audio for these videos. And remember that there is an Offhand Disney subreddit and Discord. The links for those will be in the description down below. And if you're interested in getting any Offhand Disney merchandise, the link for that will also be in the description down below. If you're interested in the links to Ye Olde Prop Shop so you can get some sweet Disneyland signage, the links for those also will be in the description, as always, down below. Everybody, thank you so much for watching this video, and again, thank you all so very much for 100,000 subscribers. It's really mind-blowing that I actually hit that, and that's all thanks to you guys. So thank you very much. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.